Last weekend, I wanted to go to another state to make some purchase, like to restock, because I am in charge of a particular store where we sell things, we sell provisions and all that. And I had informed my vendor that I was going to come early. I didn't want to be delayed. She had delayed me before then, and I didn't want that to happen again. So I had to inform her to, and then I sent a list of everything I wanted to her. She gathered everything. She packed all of my goods already and was waiting for me to arrive so I could make payments and then leave. Now, I had informed my driver as well that I needed him, not my driver per se, right? But he's someone whose services I use and I enjoy. I had informed him that I needed him to convey me back to my state, and he agreed. We both agreed by 10 a.m. he should just show up so we could move. Now, I was already done with the vendor as at a few minutes after 10. I called my driver and he started giving me excuses. He said, oh, he would soon be there and all that. So I had to wait for another 1 hour. I waited for him. I called him after an hour. And then he gave another excuse that, oh, he was with a mechanic who was trying to repair his vehicle and all that. I kept calling and calling, and this man eventually delayed me for a total of about 3 hours, 3 good hours of my time. When he eventually showed up, I was excited. I felt like, oh, finally, we can start moving. I never knew that he had other plans. This man drove me to the park and kept me waiting for another 2 hours. I was so pissed, I was so annoyed, but he was not even considering how I felt. So I had to wait for him because he already packed all of my goods. I can't start unpacking now, right? So we had to wait for more than 2 hours again, and then before we started moving. And that's when I realized that people will always be selfish. That is our nature. People would always love themselves more than they do love you. This man wasted almost 6 hours of my time just because he wanted more passengers. And that's not something he was used to doing. He doesn't wait at the back to get more passengers. I don't know what happened to him on this particular day that he just decided to. Lots of things I couldn't do. My plan was to return early, but I couldn't return early because of what he did. Eventually, he apologized, but then I learned my lesson already. So when next I would have to ask him questions. When do you intend to return? Do you intend to go to the park? I think asking questions really save people from a lot of mess. I fell into that bullshit because I assumed he was going straight back to our base. I didn't know he had other plans. So the first lesson I learned is people will always love themselves more than you do. It takes the grace of God and self-control to love others just the way you love yourself, right? The second one is to ask questions. There's this saying that assumption is the lowest level of knowledge. Sorry, assumption is the lowest level of knowledge. If you assume that, okay, this person is going to do this, or because the person is always doing it, then you might be in for a rude shock, because the fact that the person is used, or the person always do a particular thing, doesn't necessarily mean that they will do it on that particular day. So to save yourself the stress, to avoid being disappointed, observe and ask questions, right? So I just want to share that part of my day with you. That happened about say 5 days ago, and of course I have forgiven him because he apologized. He said he was sorry, though he gave no genuine excuse. Well, that's that about that. I've learned my lesson, and next time I'll be much more careful. I would observe and then I'll ask questions. So over to you. Have you had this kind of experience before? How did you handle it? And have you forgiven the person, or have you done that to someone before? I will see you in my next video. Bye.